Well, welcome to Belgrade. I'm here with Slajan and Jana, his second daughter, and Jun, and this is where we've come to. This is the Orthodox Cathedral, the Serbian Orthodox Cathedral of Sava. Sava was the first patriarch of the Serbian Orthodox Church, 12th century. And it's a pretty spectacular looking building, at least from this distance. It's pretty huge. We're going to go and take a closer look. Okay, so here we are, standing outside the church a bit closer. You're going to get a feel for the height of this building as Jun and Jana and Slajan get closer to it. You can see them on the left there walking up the steps. They are half the height of one of those small doors. And here we are. The construction was begun in the 30s. The building is still not finished. I asked Slajan how much it has cost to build this church, and he laughed. He said, "Nobody is counting. It has cost so much money, and it's still not done. It's still not built." Let's take a look inside. So here we are inside. I literally just walked in, a bit of a shock. Slajan said it's still being built. It is still being built. It looks like it's sort of being repaired rather than built, I don't know. But yeah, the construction is not finished. Here's the inside of the building. At the back, there's a kind of gift shop area like you normally expect. And here's the main area inside the church. So you can see, outside it's kind of spectacular, kind of beautiful. Inside it's just kind of empty. I'm really shocked. I expected there to be kind of chairs inside it, or pews or something. There's none of that stuff. There's these icons. There's a guy, one of the icons. Somebody over there is kind of cleaning. There's this huge scaffolding up, and I don't know whether you can even make out the roof. Inside of the roof is still being constructed. It looks like a stone or concrete dome. I'm not sure whether it's stone or concrete. I'll have a look. I think it's concrete. These pillars over here behind the green screen, they look like marble. I don't know whether they're marble, but they look like marble. It's quite dusty in there. It's like a building site. Let's take a look. Yeah, there it is. It's like a building site, which you can't see, but basically building equipment, piles of earth and stuff. So here we are. Slajan was just explaining to me what actually does happen here. He said that there are no chairs here because you don't have services here. There's no plan to put pews or chairs in the church here, at least in this church. And Slajan said in other Serbian Orthodox churches, what does it mean to go to church? Well, what do? Literally, you come in here and you've got here the three icons. In the middle is Sava. He is the saint to whom the church is dedicated, the kind of patron saint of Serbian Orthodox religious life. On the right there is icon of Jesus. On the left is the icon of Mary. You've got a cross there, and literally what you do is you come in and you go around the church and you'd kiss the icons. There's Christ on the cross there, again Mary and the baby Jesus, and you go around and you kiss these icons. There are some more over there where you see Slajan and Jun and Jana are. And literally what you do is you come in here, you kiss the icons, you light a candle, you put some money in one of the boxes over there, and then you go out. That's it. That's 10 minutes or whatever, 5 minutes you're in here. There is a liturgy which is said. There's a service which is done here. It's done by the priests up in this part I showed you earlier, but that's not something that the congregation participates in. To be a member of the church or to worship in the church here does not mean that you come along and worship with a congregation of people that you know and a priest who is your minister. What it means is you come and you kiss the icons, put money in the box, light a candle and leave. The worship is something that the priests do over there. And very likely you've never met them, you wouldn't know their names. So here we're over in the part on the left of the church where it's a bit more completed. There's some carpet on the floor, there's more icons. This is where the guy was vacuuming earlier. He stopped vacuuming. I don't want to intrude on what that lady's doing, but basically she's doing what she and her Orthodox friends customarily do. They just go around and they kiss the icons. Here you are, so you've got a picture, an image, and a slot where you put your money. And here's the next one. Picture, Mary and the child, and a slot, put your money, various saints, and then, so I guess that's what you do. That's what it means to be a part of this church. And one of the interesting things to look at, I guess, here is to just think, what are the pictures of? And there are images of Christ. Christ is not absent in the iconography of the church. We saw the image of Christ just over there, and then Mary with the baby Christ over there on the left. But you'd have to say, if you were looking at which images were central, the images of Christ are not central. Here is, again, this is the first image that you see when you walk into this part of the church. This is St. Sava, in the middle, so to speak. And again, if you remember, back over there in the centre of the church, you've got St. Sava in the middle, Christ on the right, Mary and the child, Jesus on the left. And I'm just trying to think what it means for these guys to worship God. I don't mean at all to cast any kind of criticism at their devotion. I mean, here's a guy, again, he and his friend look like they just come back from work, big chunky boots on, look like they've been building. Maybe they're even working on the church themselves. There could be builders here. And they come in and they're clearly they have a kind of a spirit of devotion to Jesus, and yet the way that it's expressed doesn't seem to me to resonate with a biblical picture of active participation in worship as part of a community of people who are praying together, who are praising Christ together. This is their worship. Where's the minister teaching them? Where's the reading of scripture? Where is the participation in things? I'm sure, they have friends who are Orthodox believers in the sense that they do the same things as they do here. They come in, kiss the icons, light a candle, put money in the slot and go home. And clearly it's heartfelt. And yet I can't help but feel sad that there is so much missing. There is real reverence here. That gentleman there just waiting for the lady to move before approaching, wanting to give her space to worship. There's reverence and mutual respect, but there's no community. There's no fellowship, there's no time together, there's no teaching, there's no corporate prayer. You just wonder how wonderful it would be if the church was renewed and revived in such a way that those things were provided. What would it be like for some of this heartfelt devotion to be channeled in a way that was more informed by a biblical picture of the Christian life? You can only hope and pray, can't you? Okay, it's time to go. I was just talking with Slajan again about what makes this place tick. What's going on here is it's part of Serbian identity, really. St. Sava was a 12th century leader in the Serb Orthodox Church. And since the 12th century, the Serbian Orthodox Church has been independent of the Greek Orthodox Church. They have their own patriarch and so on. And Sava was the first patriarch. And one of the things that means is that being a good Orthodox believer, in the sense of practicing your faith like this, is part of what makes you a good Serb. If you go and do this, that's being a faithful Serbian citizen. But what you notice is, I mentioned before, it's very isolated, very individual. And Slađan used to be in a church like this. He used to worship at a church like this. In all the Serbian Orthodox churches, there are no seats. Different in some other Orthodox churches, but in Serbian Orthodox churches, there is no seating, there are no services. This is, what you saw in there is just a big version of what happens everywhere. You might think that with so many people going to church in this kind of way, there would be some kind of conversation, some fellowship, some talking about your faith outside of a church context. But no, that's not what happens. Slađan says it would just be unthinkable to talk to somebody outside or inside about your faith. You could go from work here with your mates from work, just like you saw those two guys earlier, and you could go and kiss the icons and walk out of the church, and you would never talk with your friend about your faith. There's no priests to talk to. In that respect, it's different from the Roman Catholic Church, where there are services, where there's confession, and obviously different from Protestant churches, where one of the decisive features of the Reformation was a move towards corporate worship. And the teaching of the scriptures is completely absent. One tragic story that Slađan told me about a friend of his, a personal friend of his, who became an Orthodox priest. And as an Orthodox priest, he didn't own a Bible. Slađan bought him a Bible as a gift. And Slađan's friend said, "Oh, I haven't got one of these, thank you." And Slađan was just stunned, said, why didn't you need one? Don't you need a Bible in order to be a priest? And the priest said, no, he has many books, but he doesn't have a Bible. If he needs to read the Bible, he can always go and find one in the library. You don't need a Bible to be a priest in the Serbian Orthodox Church.